Good morning, everyone. I'm Krzeminski. I'm consultant at Milliman, and I will share some findings from our white paper on the cost effectiveness of lung cancer screening program from the Polish perspective. So our team at Milliman Warsaw office, working together with a colleague from New York office and with support from Professor Żyman's team from University of Gdańsk, we developed in 2024 a computer simulated model of the national lung cancer screening program. The objective was to estimate the potential long-term impact of a nationwide program based on the evidence from prior pilot studies and trials conducted here in Gdańsk, in the region. Our stochastic model focused on current and former heavy smokers aged 50 to 74, and we calibrated the model using Polish population structure. The population at risk was estimated at about 7 million people in year one, and also then observed the lung cancer incidence rates based on the data from Polish National Cancer Registry and screening performance parameters from past clinical studies. As you can see, the first pilot study in Gdańsk happened around the year 2010. So it's a long history of lung cancer research here in region. Individuals in the model undergo annual low-dose CT screening, continuing until cancer diagnosis, death, or for the purpose of cost assessment, the end of the 15-year projection horizon. Importantly, the stochastic model tracks health status at every 3 month cycles, including the stage at diagnosis. It tracks survival and models healthcare costs based on treatment pathways. So for the analysis we examined, for this particular analysis, we also examined realistic participation scenarios, assuming that only the fraction of the whole target population engage in screening. The most important effect of lung cancer screening is earlier detection. So without screening, up to 2/3 of lung cancers could be diagnosed at advanced stages. In contrast, according to model results, among cancers detected through screening, around 84% were diagnosed at early stage 1 and stage 2. And this estimate from the model is consistent with results from past screening programs here conducted in Gdańsk. Even with participation levels between 5 to 15%, let's assume, which could be already considered very successful, we still observe a measurable shift in stage distribution at the population level. So including also cancers diagnosed outside of the program. So the benefit, this health benefit, appears even under conservative participation assumptions. The final component of the model evaluates the economic implications. So first, the cost of the screening program itself. As one may expect, the cost scales with the participation rate. In our projections, from 5% rate to 15%, it corresponds to roughly 60 to 170 million euros annually, where that 15% participation rate translates already to over 1 million people. On average, across the whole 15-year of projection, this is about 70 million zlotys per per year per 100,000 participants. But there is also a second component to that. We analyzed also the cost of treatment after diagnosis. So here we made a quite big and conservative assumption of no widespread adoption of the newest high-cost therapies. And again, we included both screened patients that go through the screening and are diagnosed in the screening program, and those diagnosed outside of the screening program. And what we observe in our projection is that screening does not necessarily lead to long-term inflation of treatment costs on the population level again, to address the whole target population. Why is that? So, because earlier diagnosis changes the treatment mix, so the cost structure is changing, we see that more patients are eligible for surgery, fewer require chemotherapy, radiotherapy, palliative care, etc. So while screening introduces upfront program costs, the annual costs related to annual screenings, it also potentially creates downstream structural efficiencies in the healthcare system. So in the long run, comparing to no screening scenario, we can note savings on certain procedures associated with treatment of advanced stages. So to conclude, the model was able to reflect the shift in diagnosis to earlier, more treatable stages, consistent with our past experience. This effect remains visible even at more realistic participation levels. And importantly, projections say that it does not necessarily increase long-term treatment costs, again, on a population level, while still showing improvements in the health outcomes. Thank you very much.